Hello, English 112 students. Welcome to Module B. If you made it through Module A, you're in a really good spot right now. This is where things start to feel a little more like real research. So I need you to stay focused and keep building on what you've already started doing, okay? This week is all about laying the groundwork for your research project. So everything you're doing here is going to carry forward into your major assignments later in the course. So the more effort you put in now, the easier things will be down the line for you. So let's walk through what you're doing. First, you're going to work on an APA documentation. I know citation styles can feel a little bit tedious sometimes, but this is one of those skills that really matters, especially if you're going into a field where research is important and you might be doing it often. APA is about giving credit, but it's also about credibility. So when your citations are clean and correct, your work looks more focused, sorry, and it looks more professional and trustworthy. So in the B1 folder, you're going to find there's a chapter reading and a smart book activity. Don't just rush through it. I want you to actually pay attention to how the citations are structured. Look at how references are formatted and how in-text citations work, and then how all that connects together. This is something that you're going to use again and again throughout this semester. Next, in B2, you're going to focus on comparing perspectives and learning what an annotated bibliography is. Here's the good idea. Here's the key idea, sorry. Good research is not just about finding one source that agrees with you. It's about looking at multiple resources and understanding how they relate to each other. Do they agree? Do they disagree? Do they focus on different parts of the same problem? So this is where your thinking starts to get deeper. You're not just collecting information, you're starting to now analyze it. So now I want to talk about the main assignment this week. It's your annotated bibliography two-source draft. It's an annotated bibliography, a mini one, because you're going to be doing a bigger one next week. So this one's a mini assignment that only requires you to analyze two of your sources so far. Next week in Module C, you're going to do a full rhetorical analysis of, a full annotated bibliography of 8 sources, including the 2 that you've already done for the two-source draft. I hope that makes sense. So this is your first real step into organizing your research in a meaningful way. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose 2 sources that are related to your topic. And I don't want you to be intentional here. Sorry, I do want you to be intentional. I don't want you to pick the first 2 things that you find. I want you to try to choose sources that are actually useful and that come from different types of sources, like a scholarly article and maybe a popular source or a trade publication. That way you can practice working with different kinds of information. For each of those sources, you're going to do 3 main things. First, you'll create a correct APA reference citation. This is your full citation that would go on the references page of an APA document. Pay attention to the formatting. Details matter here. Things like punctuation and capitalization and spacing, all those things are different than they are in MLA. So pay close attention to the resources that I'm giving you. Second, after you write that first paragraph, you're going to write a second paragraph, which is called the summary paragraph. It's about 150 to 200 words. This is where you'll explain what the source is saying. Think of it like this. If someone didn't read the article, could they understand the main idea just by reading your paragraph? You want to start with a strong opening sentences that introduces the author, the year, the type of source, and then what the main idea of the source is. Then you slowly walk through the key points that support that idea. A couple of important things here. I want you to stay objective. It's not opinion, right? It's not opinion about the topic. You're just using your own words here. You're not copying, you're not patching what they say together to create something. Focus on the most important ideas and not every single detail in the article. If you do use a quote, keep it short and make sure it fits smoothly into your sentence. But honestly, you don't need many quotes here. It's mostly about summarizing what they say. The next thing you're going to do is write an evaluation paragraph, which is about 100 to 150 words. This is where you'll shift into your own voice. You'll explain 2 things: why the source is reliable, how you know, and how you plan on using this source in your project. So you might talk about the author's credentials, whether the source was published, whether it was a recent source, whether it's biased or objective, things like that. Then you're going to connect it back to your research. How does this source help you? Does it define your problem? Does it show a cause of the problem or an effect? Does it offer a solution? So this is where I want to see your thinking or how you're thinking about your topic in a real way. Also, this paragraph should be in first person, so it's okay to say things like, I found this source helpful because, or this source will help me explain. So that's different than that first paragraph. So let's talk about formatting because this is a big part of the assignment as well. You're going to need a proper APA title page. You're going to need Times New Roman font, size 12. It needs to be double spaced. And there should be correct APA citations with the hanging indents. Your sources, two of them, should be in alphabetical order. There should be a summary paragraph immediately followed by an evaluation paragraph for each source. Formatting might seem like a small thing, but it's part of academic writing and it shows attention to detail. Also, take time to revise and proofread before you submit the draft. Don't just finish and upload it. Read through it, fix what you can. The better your draft is, the more useful that my feedback will be. Now, in that same folder, you'll see a sample annotated bibliography, or two of them. These are there to help you understand what this should look like. So use them as a guide, but do not copy anything from them. Your writing in this needs to be your own. If your work is too similar to a sample, that's considered plagiarism. So I want you to be careful there. You're also going to find APA resources and the rubric in that folder. I highly recommend looking at the rubric before you submit. It tells you exactly how I'm going to grade it and what I'm looking for when I do grade it. Once you finish everything, you're going to submit your work for that two-source draft in the B4 folder. Remember, this is a draft. You're practicing here so that when you move into the full annotated bibliography in the next module, you already know what you're doing. Speaking of that, in B5, you're going to preview the full annotated bibliography assignment. That's where you'll expand from two sources to 8. That won't be due until next week during Module C. It's the same structure, the same expectations, just more depth and more research. So you're going to be using more of your sources to do the things you're supposed to do at the end of the semester when you write this proposal assignment. So if you look back at my first message to you or my announcement to you about finding sources, I told you that you needed to find sources for different things, like proving that the problem exists, finding words of people who are going through the problem, past attempts at solutions, and all the things like that. So those 8 sources, 2 of them, which will come from the two-source draft, will cover a variety of different things that you'll have to talk about, not just 1 or 2. So again, the effort you put in this week will directly impact how successful you're going to be or later. All right, a quick recap here. This week, you're going to learn APA citation. You're going to learn how to compare perspectives across several sources. You're going to write your first annotated bibliography entries. You're going to prepare for a larger assignment that's coming up next week. Everything is due on Sunday, March the 29th at 11:59 p.m., so make sure to plan your time accordingly. Don't wait until the last minute on this one. There are no discussion board assignments this week. So there's no Wednesday post rules like there are for discussion boards. If you have any questions at any point, don't be afraid to reach out to me. Don't sit there and stay confused. I'd rather you reach out to me and ask me early than to struggle through. So that's it for Module B. Thanks for taking the time to watch this, and let's keep moving forward. Okay?